And his name is John Cena.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
This is Wheelie Bad F1. Hi.
Welcome. Yeah, we just watched Imola.
Wait.
So
You say Imola?
that was a fun race. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We saw at the start of Imola, that's why.
To be fair, it's been an enjoyable weekend away from the racing. F1 was kind of a bit of a snooze fest. F2 looked kind of interesting. F3 looked interesting.
Right.
It's interesting in the bad ways.
Anyone just look up the F3 ending on YouTube. I think it's the sprint race, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Yeah, it was Saturday. Yeah.
Watch it.
Yeah. Go and watch it after you've finished watching us, obviously. But yeah, no, away from it, it's been an alright weekend. Seen some funny tweets out there. My favourite, I'm going to give you a shout out, was from Urine Hands. Put your name on screen, at Urine Hands. And we were talking about how terrible it was, obviously, that a few shirts were stolen from the run that they did for Senna. And some guy used our name and put, some may say that's really bad for Max and Valtteri because their shirts got stolen, apparently. So, yeah, tweet on screen. But I liked it. I said I love it. I even retweeted him. It was
some really bad fun.
But anyway, it was. That was really bad, Josh.
Really good though.
But yeah, anyway. So we'll start with quali. Just quickly, we'll just dip into quali. There was some interesting parts on quali. We had Yuki, we had Hülkenberg, and we had Perez. So, which of the three would you like to start with?
Do we get the bad one off the way? Perez is back.
To be fair, right, I've been having it. Yeah, I've been having this argument with people on Twitter. It's probably one of my most engaged replies to something over the weekend. And yeah, he's done terribly. I know everybody else is like, oh, he's not done that bad. He's finished second a few times, got fifth, finished eighth. Not been that bad. He is in the fastest car on the grid, arguably. Currently, he's up there, arguably. And he's, finishing the way that he did today. He shouldn't be finishing P8. Yeah, he's P3 in, he's third in the championship at the minute. But yeah, hopefully it doesn't carry on. Monaco is not a bad track for him, I don't think. It's slow. It's not stupidly quick. There's a lot of slow braking, slow sort of corners and stuff.
The one thing with Sergio is, and he's proved this over the last 3 years, so fair enough, he has mastered the street track.
Mm.
So, let's hope he decides he wants to be a master for a weekend.
Fingers crossed. But anyway, going from that slow race to another slow, boring 1 DRS situation. We had Yuki coming out with an absolute beast of a lap, but Hülkenberg took the cherry. He would have finished a lot higher. He would have started a lot higher for the race if he actually pulled out the lap that he did in Q2. Was it Q2?
No, Q1.
Q1. No, Q2 was Tsunoda. Q1. He would have still finished a lot quicker. He would have finished higher up. His lap time in Q1 was quicker than his lap time in Q3.
Right. As much as that's a shame, Hülkenberg is a menace. I don't care. Look, I like Magnussen. There you go. Say his name right. Magnussen. I think of the last 2 years, or let's say 1.5 years, because it's only halfway through the season nearly, Hülkenberg proved he's better. I used to rate Magnussen, really did, but Hülkenberg has wiped the floor with him since he joined Haas.
But yeah, Hülkenberg did alright. Yuki pulled out a lap out of nowhere as well. Usual Yuki stuff at the minute. He's actually doing relatively well.
He's matured a lot.
Get him in a Red Bull?
No, I don't think that'll happen at all.
Yeah.
Something that Alex Jake said in
Why,
the
too much of a
P1
threat to
video as
Max?
well with Matt. He sees him going to Aston
Yeah.
Martin. I've always thought that as well because the Honda connection. When Honda goes to Aston Martin, Honda basically pushed Yuki through his whole
Yeah.
career.
Yeah, do you
Yeah.
know what? It's not a bad shout, actually. Not a bad shout. We'll move away from qualifying. I just wanted to shout those three out. Well, less of a shout out for Perez, more of a boo. Anyway, not hating on you, Perez.
You're a great driver.
I promise.
Always respect you. But please do better.
Yeah, we always trash talk people that have done terribly. We did it at Stroll.
That's different breed. We won't get in trouble. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But, yeah, what have I got on my notes there? So, I'd say there was a good start, I suppose. It wasn't bad. Norris went on the attack from the off. But, ultimately, so did Leclerc, so did Sainz. And I think that obviously then created a bit of a gap at the beginning. Which, it's going to happen. If you're going on the attack, you need to be prepared for defence, and he wasn't. He went on the attack. Didn't realise that Sainz had an even better start. I think he had the best start on the grid, actually. And, yeah, he wasn't prepared for that. Obviously realised I need to fend off Sainz here. And, yeah, ultimately gave Max his usual, gap that he gets at the beginning of a race. Yeah, he was gone, off into the distance a little bit. Not majorly. He didn't actually pull that far ahead over the course of the race, to be honest.
The highest I saw was 7 seconds.
Not Max style. Yeah, I think if I remember rightly, I think it went up to 8 at one point, and then it dipped back down again. But that was over a course of a lap. It'd gone up to 8 and then stopped to dip back down again. He wasn't shaking the McLaren off. Not really.
No.
Wasn't shaking anybody off, really. But, yeah, start was good. Obviously, the next big thing, it's not going to be the biggest video in the world because there wasn't tons of stuff to talk about. Albon and his front right tyre.
I have not seen a stop-go penalty in years. Wow.
Yeah,
I mean, it's deserved, but wow.
Yeah, it was his front right, and it just didn't go on properly. And he came out and said that he got to the end of the pit straight, he turned it off the pit limiter, and then realised something was wrong. Hence why then he started going quite slowly around everything, because he didn't want the wheel to fall off. Understandably, because that could have been catastrophic on the track. We've seen in F2 a couple of the wheels going off. In the pits. It's fine. It's a bit more contained. But
what I will say is in F2, I know it's still professional
on track.
They're still learning though, even the mechanics. So there's a slight excuse there at least.
Yeah.
These Williams are supposed to be. I know Williams isn't the best team of them all, but these are supposed to be the crop of the crop.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it was the first. I can't remember the names of people. I am really sorry. I'm relatively new to watching F2. It was the first car. Its wheel went off, which then almost hit a guy in the pit in front, like that. Luckily, it hit the wheel. It hit the wheel that he was about to pick up, and he's then put it on. Didn't click that he needed to actually, secure it. And
see, I've heard some theories on that as well, though. Some people are saying maybe the tyre that hit it knocked the nut off it. So
yeah, that could have been the case actually.
No.
Obviously, we didn't see that. We'd have had to have, have it a lot closer and the camera right there. But anyway,
thankfully,
Albon had them. He had his 10-second time penalty. Yeah, thankfully, no one was injured. But yeah, Albon then got a 10-second time penalty, and later came out and said they were just treating it as a testing experience, basically testing the brakes and stuff. Understandable. He ended up being lapped twice, gave up in the end, just retired. Which, shame for Albon. Albon's, pretty good driver. He's just signed a new contract.
See, what I say is, I think he was just trying to match the audience.
Bit of a shame.
Everyone else retired from the race up until 10 laps before. So I think he was just going with the flow of the audience.
Obviously, we also had Alonso.
Oh my god.
Alonso had a few issues starting from the pit. Started on softs.
I get the theory on it, because this essentially or should be the 4th or 5th fastest car on the circuit. So the soft tyres should get into the point so he can overtake. But this is 2 weekends in a row with Alonso where he's been, for lack of a better word, dreadful.
Yeah. Like he didn't make any inroads on Sargent. He did 9 laps, I want to say it was, or might have been 8, and then pitted. He pitted and came back out because he wasn't making any gain on Sargent in front of him. Which,
I don't know.
like, come on, like he should have demolished Sargent. No offense to Sargent, I love Sargent, but he should have flown right past him, and it just didn't happen.
More experience. No offense, Sargent, a better driver. Yeah. I don't think this is the end of the road for Alonso. Nowhere near. It's only 2 races. I've heard a couple of people saying, "Oh, look, he's shown his age finally." No, it's 2 bad races. If occasionally this stuff happens.
Yeah, you look at any driver, forget the car, look at the driver themselves. You know, everyone has bad races. Max has had bad races. Hamilton's had them. You know, Vettel would have had them. Schumacher had them, definitely. You know, they all have bad races at some point, and he's just hit a bad patch. You know, it's a bit. He's knocked over a curb, basically. He's just gone boop, over a curb and messed up. He's going to come out the other side, obviously, and would have learned from the experience. It's what they do. They learn from the bad experiences and carry on. Obviously, if this is something that then carries on and carries on and carries on and ends up being the rest of the season, then you'll start to go, ooh, something's wrong. Yeah, maybe he's starting to crest over that peak. But right now, there's 2 races. I'm sure he'll be fine in Monaco. He's got a lot of experience there. He'll be fine there. But yeah, that's Alonso anyway. That was. Yeah, and then
what did anything else happen in the race?
Big gap.
Going
to be interesting.
As you can tell, there's a lot of stuff in this race.
But yeah, anyway. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I've got a bit of paper, and I've got one more thing left to mention. That's it. Norris Mclaren. That's it. That'll probably be the biggest part of the entire thing. Is Norris actually saying that? Hold on, I lie. I think Leclerc going over the bump into the grass, that stopped the rest of the race. It was gaining. Did that.
I don't think that's the issue.
He backed off.
This can actually segue into Norris. So, it's what they were talking about on commentary as well, which makes a lot of sense. Obviously, your tyres grain over time. I reckon Norris was in a graining period when Leclerc was catching up. He drove slow to get himself out of it. As soon as he did, bang.
Yeah, because he actually came over the radio. He came over and he was complaining about the fact that, you know, he wasn't going that quick. And they were saying that we need to pick up here, you need to pick up there, but they're quicker than you in all these areas of the track. And he said, you know, their cars are just quicker currently. You're going slower. Understandably, you know, he obviously wants the tyres to last. It's 63 lap race. Like, there wasn't a single safety car in sight that could have possibly helped a little bit or could have pitted for something. No, nothing. It was a relatively quiet race.
Half in the 10 lap.
But, yeah, so what? We're getting into sort of like 52, 53.
But you always said, no, probably 49. I noticed. Yeah. I always noticed it before commentary. I noticed it. Norris was picking her up.
The gap between Max and Norris stopped climbing upwards. It was only small mounts, but it stopped climbing. And then the gap between Leclerc and Norris also stopped. So then you know that he's at that right point where he's just as quick as the car in front, just as quick as the car behind. And then
I have an interesting question for you. It goes back to Perez, unfortunately. Is McLaren the fastest car right now? The reason I'm saying this is, I think Max is out driving that car. I think Perez is under driving.
Oh yeah, obviously.
I think the Red Bull true pace is somewhere in the middle.
I think that if right now you put Max, because he's in the peak of his powers at the moment, I think if you put Max in that McLaren, he'd have been a lot further ahead. That car in a straight line is quick as a whippet. It is speedy. It's not bad in the corners. You know, Norris and Piastri have got less experience in a sense. Like they're not used to being as high up as they have been. They're not used to challenging for first place, really. You know, and not used to being this close to a Red Bull.
It's something Norris said in his post interview. We've got to get used to this now because this is where our pace is. We've got to get used to being up here. They're confident now. They think they've got the car, and the upgrades have come early enough in the season. I think we might have a title challenge.
It was a very close finish. I do think if he hadn't gone off into the gravel slightly, I reckon it would have been neck and neck. I don't know. I wouldn't have been able to say who wins, but I think it would have been a lot closer than
You can
7
say that,
tenths.
but you can also say if Max made mistakes a couple of laps as well, where he did 22.7 or 20. So, you give and take.
Yeah. It's like a tit for
One or
tat
two more
situation,
laps,
really, isn't
it would have been interesting
Yeah.
to see.
Yeah, even Norris came out and said that in his interview afterwards. He said they asked, if he had a few more laps, do you think he could have caught him? And he was like, yeah, I think he could have. That McLaren with DRS.
The DRS is finally working. That was always
And
been
he had
the
more battery.
struggle. The DRS is actually alright, I don't know. That car has now got all the ingredients. This isn't me just trying to be McLaren biased. I'm just trying to base out the last two races. Miami and Imola, two completely different tracks. McLaren aced both of them.
Oh yeah, and Lando, Lando had a lot more battery than Max. I think Lando had 60% to Max's 30.
I think Max has realised. I think we saw it in qualifying when he got pole. Max now realises he's got a challenge.
Yeah, and that he actually needs to go and race and defend rather than it just be comfortable. Which, to be fair, if he wants a race, he's getting one, and I bet he's happy about it.
This might have a double-edged sword if Max now stays in the sport longer because he's got someone to race with.
He's got a friend. There we go. Happy days. Yay!
But
anyway,
these last two race weekends have been very promising for not just McLaren, but the sport in general. This is what the sport needed.
It did, and it's starting to get a little bit more interesting. The next couple of races are going to be a bit because of the type of tracks they are.
Monaco, the best there'll be Saturday. Saturday's always the best Monaco. Yeah.
Oh yeah, qualifying's always great, isn't it? I love qualifying there. So yeah, that's it really. Same as usual. Link is in bio for F1 store. They have Ayrton Senna stuff. They've also got the McLaren Sun God glasses collection currently. Some of it's actually currently starting to sell out or has sold out. As of Friday, some of it was almost gone. But yeah, I hope that you have a good week. And we will, we'll talk to you on, next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.